They couldn't hear what he heard. They couldn't feel what he felt. And by the time they understood what he had been doing, it was already over, in the way that near misses are over, quietly, with a number on a chart that told the whole story. The dog pressed his face against the baby's face every morning for 11 days before anyone asked the right question. Yusra Khalid had 3 years of experience as a neonatal intensive care unit nurse before she took maternity leave. She had monitored the heartbeats of infants too small to wear a standard bracelet. She had sat beside families at 3 o'clock in the morning and explained in the specific language of someone who lives inside medical reality what the numbers on the screen meant. She was not a person who missed things. She trusted this about herself. She would have to stop trusting it, just temporarily. The dog was named Glacier, a 4-year-old Great Pyrenees, 105 pounds, white as a cleared snowfield, with a calm so deep it registered as boredom to people who didn't know the breed. He had been unremarkable for the first 8 months of baby Ferris's life. Present, gentle, measured. He moved around Ferris the way large, careful animals move around small, unknowing ones, with an awareness that cost him nothing because it was simply part of how he existed. Then something changed. On a Tuesday morning, Yusra noticed that Glacier, who had been lying near the kitchen doorway, had moved. He was on the floor beside Ferris's playmat. His enormous white head was lowered until his muzzle was level with Ferris's face, approximately the same distance as a doctor leaning in with a stethoscope. Not touching. Close. His eyes were open and settled, focused on something she couldn't identify. She moved him. He went easily. She picked Ferris up, checked him, set him back on the mat. Glacier waited until she had crossed to the kitchen counter, and then, without hurry, walked back to the same position. She noted it. She did not yet understand what she was noting. The behavior repeated the following morning and the morning after. Every time Ferris lay on the playmat and Yusra was within reach but not directly beside him, Glacier took the same position, same placement, same angle, that specific deliberate nearness to Ferris's chest. Her husband, Kareem, watched it on the 4th morning and said, "He's protective. He's just being territorial." She didn't argue. She had been thinking the same thing. The logic was available and tidy, and she preferred tidy. On the 7th morning, she watched more carefully. Glacier was not looking at Ferris's face. He was looking at Ferris's chest, not the quick, interested glance of a dog registering motion. A sustained, focused attention at the specific location where Ferris's chest rose and fell. Once, Glacier pressed the side of his jaw, the flat bone area behind his chin, lightly against Ferris's chest for 3 seconds. Then he lifted it. His expression did not change. Yusra's professional mind produced a word she did not want. She picked Ferris up and pressed her own ear to his chest the way she had done it professionally for 3 years. She heard the heartbeat. She heard something else. The flutter wasn't dramatic. It was there the way a splinter is there. Not overwhelming, just wrong. She drove to the pediatrician without calling ahead. Dr. Harriet Osei listened to Ferris's heart for 40 seconds without speaking. Then she said, "I want you to see someone today." She made the call from the examination table. That was when Yusra understood it was not nothing. The echocardiogram at the Children's Cardiac Center took 45 minutes. Dr. Silas Obafemi, pediatric cardiologist, reviewed the imaging in the room with them. Ferris had a moderately sized patent foramen ovale with an additional secundum atrial septal defect, a combination of 2 structural openings between the upper chambers of the heart that should have closed in the weeks after birth. Neither had. The heart was managing, compensating. Ferris showed no cyanosis, no failure to thrive, no feeding difficulties. The standard well-visit stethoscope checks had produced the kind of sound that, without a trained ear listening for it and time to listen fully, was easy to read as within range. It was not within range. At Ferris's current size and with his level of activity increasing as he approached the age of pulling himself up and cruising furniture, the cardiac workload was going to increase. The defects were not going to resolve spontaneously at this size. They required intervention, catheter-based, minimally invasive but real, scheduled, necessary. Dr. Obafemi looked at Yusra. He said, "My dog." He looked at her without speaking for a moment. Then he said, "Dogs hear in ranges we don't. A heart with a significant septal defect produces turbulent sounds at frequencies that fall below standard clinical detection in a brief exam but sit well within a dog's auditory range, at the distance your dog was positioning himself each morning." He paused. He was listening to your son's heart every day. He was telling you something was different. As your dog ever positioned himself in a specific way near your baby repeatedly, something that didn't make sense until you looked harder. Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. If you stay for stories about what animals sense, before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Ferris's procedure was scheduled 6 weeks later. He came through it without complication. His follow-up imaging at 3 months showed the defects successfully closed. His heart does what it was built to do. He is 14 months old now. He pulls himself up on the coffee table and walks along the edge with a determination that makes Yusra stand close. Glacier moves with him along the far side of the table, parallels steady at that specific proximity he has always chosen, the one that puts his head level with Ferris's chest. He is not worried. He is not alerting. He is checking. He does it because he has always done it, because it is the thing he knows how to do, and because the sound is different now, regular, clean, correct. And he wants to confirm that every morning. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. The next story is about a dog who refused to let a toddler enter one room for 3 weeks, and what the building inspector found inside the wall that room shared with the nursery.